Dog can't stop crying, then woman does this. Racing around the corner and into a dark alleyway, Natasha could feel panic take over. She could still hear the hair-raising cry she heard 2 minutes ago. As soon as she heard it, her blood ran cold. Where was it coming from? Natasha could feel her heartbeat in her throat. She carefully walked into the alleyway and stopped cold at what she saw lying helplessly in the dirty alleyway. There was no coming back from this. For Natasha Jones, her Monday started just like any other day. After downing her first coffee of the day, she woke up her kids, cooked them breakfast, dropped them at school, and then came back home to spend the morning cleaning. But this doting mom of two had no idea what was coming to her when she went for a walk around the block. After spending the morning cleaning, Natasha decided to take a walk around the block for some fresh air. Passing by her cheerful neighbors, she breathed in the fresh air with a beaming smile slapped on her face. Today was looking like a good day. Natasha had no idea how wrong she was. You see, Natasha suffered from anxiety, and at times her anxiety left her feeling low. But for the sake of her kids, she tried her hardest. She found that cleaning and going for walks helped her with anxiety. But little did Natasha know that she was about to stumble across something that would turn her world upside down. Natasha had been walking outside for 5 minutes now, and she was working up a sweat. She took a sip of water and stopped at the end of a street to catch her breath. Then suddenly, as she turned a street corner, she heard a noise that left a shiver up her spine. Amidst the sound of cars passing by, Natasha heard the sound of a hair-raising cry. As soon as Natasha heard it, she felt sick to her stomach. Was somebody in pain? Had somebody injured themselves? It sounded like whatever the noise was coming from, it was in serious pain and needed help. Natasha looked around the street to try and find the source of the noise. With each step she took, she heard the cry getting louder and louder. It was only when she stumbled in a nearby alleyway that she realized this was not a cry from a human. It was a cry from an animal. And it needed serious help. Natasha followed the crying noise into a nearby alleyway, and straight away a terrible feeling hit the pit of her stomach. She steps inside the alleyway and her heartbeat pounds in her chest. Her eyes are fixated on what she can see lying helplessly in the dirty alleyway. It couldn't be, could it? You see, in the alleyway was a stray dog that was crying out. The noise left an uneasy feeling in Natasha's stomach. But what was this doing out here? Kids play around this neighborhood, it's a friendly place. Then within a matter of seconds, the crying dog got up, its piercing eyes looking straight at Natasha. Natasha's heart ached with sympathy and worry at this dog that was crying. With every moan it let out, Natasha could feel herself getting more and more emotional. Was the dog in pain? Or was it just merely upset? Without fear of being bitten, Natasha slowly approached the dog and put her hand on its back. As Natasha started stroking the dog's furry back, the dog started crying even more loudly now. Did the dog think Natasha was going to hurt it? Was it scared? The dog tried to brush Natasha's hand off its back, but Natasha was adamant to show this dog some love. The more she showed affection to this dog, the more it, slowly, came around. The dog was still crying, but it was a lot quieter now. Had Natasha managed to relax it? Natasha knew she had to get help, so she snapped a photo of the dog and sent it to a local animal rescue shelter that specializes in saving animals from neglect and abuse, and this poor animal that was crying had certainly seemed to have suffered both. The animal shelter soon arrived and met up with the worried Natasha. When the team closed in on the stray, they realized just how bad the dog's condition really was. Its frail body was plagued with open scabs from infections that were slowly killing her. And if that wasn't bad enough, when the team looked closer, they found something even more horrific. The dog looked like it had a broken foot. It was unable to move, and whenever it did, it let a growl and a piercing cry. Natasha and the animal rescue team knew that they had to get this poor pup to safety. Slowly, they picked it up and took it back to the shelter. All the while, this sad dog was still crying. As soon as the crying dog entered the clinic, it had to undergo a series of tests and checks. After a few hours, the team knew they'd be able to nurse this poor dog back to health. But what was the future going to look like for this dog? Nearly 11 months following its rescue, and despite a few minor setbacks along the way, this dog, now called Kanye, is almost unrecognizable. As you can see, he's doing much better. After his recovery, he was placed with Natasha, the woman who found her a few months prior, stranded and hurt in the alleyway. What a happy ending!